Welcome back to ADHD Whiskey. My name is Matt. It is damn near October 1st, 2020. And that means it is the All-Star break. Halftime. The middle. The eye of the storm. We are entering bourbon hunting season. Full force. Hurricane force winds. Here come all the bourbons, and they're flying in so fast. I thought I would take a little bit of a break, a little siesta, a little bit of a rest to stop, gather myself, and let you know what my top 5 bourbons in 2020 are so far. I can sift through all the stuff I've tasted up until this point, up until bourbon release season, to get a gauge, to see where we sit, to see what I've enjoyed the most so far this year, before all the shit hits the fan. Let's friggin' do it. Before we get into the old list, I'm gonna need you to hit subscribe, hit the like button. Yeah. What I'm swirling in this son of a bitch is this son of a bitch. My number 5 bourbon so far in 2020. It's Barrel Bourbon Batch 21. This son of a bitch comes in at 106.34 proof. Barrel Craft Spirits, blended barrels from Kentucky, Indiana, and Tennessee for Bourbon Batch 21. This fun-shaped bottle won Best Bourbon of the Year at the 2020 San Francisco World Spirits Competition. So it's already a winner. Each batch is unique, and they uniquely blended this into something mag-friggin-nificent. What is in this bottle is glorious and lovely, and just something that you need to taste. What a glorious blend, what a glorious batch. This son of a batch earns number 5 on my 5 best bourbons of 2020 so far. Number 4. So happy I caught that. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, Batch B520. The May release from Heaven Hill, their Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Batch B520 is a flavor bomber. It is fantastic. It is glorious. It is sweet, nutty oak with dark fruits and love, dark love. It is so good. Buy it. Buy it. Because guess what? Amazing. Friggin' amazing. So good. 127.2 proof. Aged for a minimum of 12 years. This bourbon is glorious, wonderful, incredible, and just the best. You will love it. If you can't find these bourbons, I'm super sorry. This isn't my best bourbons you can find list. This is my best bourbons I've tasted so far this year list. This bottle was released in a handful of states. And if you live in one of those states, you might be lucky enough to be able to find it on the shelf. And the bottle I'm talking about is my number 3. In 3rd place, Sam Houston, 14-year-old, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Friggin' Whiskey. 98 proof, glorious, super friggin' awesome, small batch blend. And by small batch blend, it says right here, they only use 2 barrels for this particular blend for the Tennessee release. So the Tennessee release, Sam Houston, 14-year-old Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey is magnificent. So good. The cherry oakness on this bourbon, mixed with a peppery caramel, is enough to drive you wild. It will make you sing Christian songs that you didn't even know existed. Glory, glory, hallelujah, he reigns, he reigns, he reigns, he reigns, he reigns. It's just that good. This will percolate your percolator. It will agitate your agitator, and it will gadgetate your gadgetator. What does that mean? No idea. But if you taste it, you'll figure it out real quick. It coats the mouth like a friggin' 17th coat of paint, a delicious oak bourbon paint, and then it finishes strong. It finishes in second place. In second place was a bit of a surprise. I've never tried this bottle. I've never tasted this bottle until very recently. I found it on a store shelf here in the most scariest state of the planet, Connecticut. Walked into a store and saw this son of a bitch on a shelf. The runner-up, my runner-up for best bourbon of 2020. So far, heading into release season, numero tumo, number 2, Doso Mugroso, except for the opposite, Doso McYummo. Friggin' cigar blend, Joseph Magnus, batch 28, 122 proof, finished bourbon badass. This is glorious, wonderful. I'm running out of adjective verbs, whatever they are called. Describing words, running out of descriptors here. Little bug just got murdered. Sorry, little bug, that it ended your life. Tell your friends. Go back in time and tell your friends. This is glorious, with or without a cigar. The dark fruit flavors and citrus notes that come off the nose and the palate. This is the best finished whiskey I've ever had in my entire life. If you're into premium bourbon whiskeys, this bourbon whiskey is of the utmost premiumness. The experience of drinking this bourbon whiskey will bring you back to a time that you really enjoyed yourself. You'll be like, oh my gosh, this experience reminds me of that one time back in '97 when my Toyota Tercel broke down on the side of the road, and I was outside with the hood up, wondering what the heck was going on. And then a tour bus full of cheerleaders stopped, and they were like, would you like a hand? And you're like, I don't. And then the bus driver got out, real handy lady, and she was like, it's your alternator. You have a dead battery because your alternator died. Would you like me to bring you into town to go to a convenience store who can then tell you where the parts store is at? And you were like, I would love that. And she's like, best day of your life, because guess what? I got a bus. And she took you to the parts store and they got you fixed up in about 18 hours. This will remind you of that day, because what a glorious day to be stopped by a woman driving a bus who knew exactly what the heck was wrong with your car. Just a fan-friggin-tastic experience. What a great bourbon. Number 1, my favorite bourbon whiskey of the year so far in 2020 is opening up a box of whoop-ass on the competition. America, America, America. Wild Turkey, 17-year, bottled in friggin' bond. This is my favorite bourbon of the year so far. It is glorious. It is the most Luden's Cough Drop, cherry oak, close your eyes and love it experience. They put magic in this bottle. It's so good. So good. It comes in a box, so you know it rocks. It's got a heavy stopper. America, made out of copper. Not sure if it is or not, but it rhymed and it feels like it could be. Whether my wife let me do it or not, I would buy another bottle and tell her, if you don't like it, then leave. And she would be like, okay. And I'd be like, I'm just kidding, don't leave. But can I please buy it? Please, pretty please. She'd probably let me. She probably would. She's a good girl. I love her so much. Bottled in friggin' bond. 17-year Wild Turkey is my favorite bourbon of the year so far. heading into the old bourbon release season. So that's my list. Comment down below. What's your top 5 of the year so far that you've been able to try? What do you think? What do you think is your top 5? My name is Matt. This is ADHD Whiskey. Like I always say, keep your head in the clouds, but your mind on just finding the stuff that you like the most, and then telling the world about it on the internet, wondering if they'll agree or call you an idiot.